We've all been there, right? You spend a whole weekend just buried in textbooks. You put in the hours, you cancel your plans, and then you feel like you've learned almost nothing. It's so frustrating. It can make you feel like you're just not smart enough. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the issue isn't how long you study, but how you're doing it?
I mean, it's the idea we were all taught growing up. Just grind it out. Lock yourself in your room for hours and hours, and eventually you'll get the grades. But let's really challenge that. Let's ask the question straight up. Is more time the real secret to getting ahead in school?
Well, the science is in, and the answer is a huge, resounding no. Research makes it incredibly clear. It's the quality of your studying, the strategies you use, that matters way, way more than the number of hours you clock in. This isn't just a nice idea, it's the fundamental truth of learning efficiently.
Okay, so to really get why quality crushes quantity, we need to take a quick peek under the hood at how our brains are wired to learn. It's actually a pretty simple system that explains everything, and it all comes down to two key parts: your working memory and your long-term memory. Think about it this way. Your working memory is like a small desk. It's where you put things you're actively thinking about right now. But, it's small. It can only hold a few papers before it gets totally cluttered and things start falling off. Now, your long-term memory? That's like a gigantic, perfectly organized library. It's where all the stuff you truly know is stored forever. So, the whole game of studying is just figuring out the best way to move information from that tiny, messy desk into the massive, permanent library.
And this whole desk and library thing, it isn't just a cute analogy. It's a real scientific principle called cognitive load theory. All it says is that your mental desk, your working memory, has a very real, very strict limit. So when you try to cram for an exam, or you're studying with your phone buzzing and notifications popping up, you're just overloading that desk. Information piles up, it gets jumbled, and almost none of it makes the trip to the long-term memory library. It's useless.
So if just flooding our brain with information is a terrible idea, what actually works? Well, this is the good part. Now that we know the rules of how the brain works, we can use them to our advantage. Cognitive science has basically handed us a toolkit of super powerful, proven strategies that are designed to work with our brain, not against it.
And you don't need a million little tips and tricks. It really comes down to a few core pillars of effective learning. Let's break down two of the absolute heavy hitters: testing yourself and spacing it out.
First up is retrieval practice. Honestly, if you only take one thing away from this, let it be this. Instead of passively shoving information in, like when you just reread your notes over and over, retrieval is all about actively pulling information out. Every time you force yourself to recall something, whether it's with a flashcard, a self-quiz, or trying to explain it to a friend, you are literally strengthening the connection to that memory. You're building a stronger, faster path to that information for later. And this brings us to a really crucial point about learning. Rereading your notes feels easy, right? It's comfortable, but it creates this dangerous illusion that you know the material, just because you recognize it on the page. On the other hand, retrieval practice, quizzing yourself, feels hard. It's a struggle sometimes, but that feeling of effort, that's the sign that it's working. It's like lifting weights at the gym. The strain is what actually builds the muscle. So here's the rule. If your studying feels easy, you're probably doing it wrong.
The next powerhouse is spaced practice. This one works perfectly with retrieval, and it's our best weapon against forgetting things. Instead of doing one massive 8-hour cram session the night before a test, you do several shorter sessions spread out over a few days or even weeks. Why? Because that space between sessions gives your brain a chance to, forget a little bit, and then when you recall it again, you're telling your brain, hey, this is important, don't lose it. It's how you move things off that cluttered desk and get them filed away properly in the library.
So what does this actually look like? Let's say you learn a new concept in your history class on a Monday. Instead of just ignoring it until the test, you do a quick 5 or 10-minute self-quiz on Tuesday. Then maybe you do another one on Thursday, and a final one a week later. Each one of those little reviews is like a booster shot for your memory, making it stronger and way more durable than cramming ever could.
Okay. But even if you have the best strategies in the world, your efforts can still get totally derailed. There are these hidden saboteurs, these bad habits that can quietly sneak in and wreck all of your hard work. And public enemy number one is procrastination. We all know it, and it's more than just laziness. Researchers have this amazing phrase for it. They call it a quintessential self-regulatory failure.
All that means is it's that moment you know what you should be doing, but you choose to do something else anyway. It's the ultimate killer of space practice. Because if you keep putting off that first review, the whole system falls apart. And you can literally see its impact in the data. This chart comes from a study where researchers track students' daily habits, and the results are just wow. On days when students made a plan, they were much more likely to hit their goals. On days they concentrated, same thing. But on days they procrastinated, their goal achievement just plummeted. Procrastination isn't neutral, it's actively and powerfully working against you. Okay, so we have the science, we know the strategies, and we know what to watch out for. How do we put this all together into an actual plan? Let's build what a single, perfect master study session should look like. This is where we turn all this theory into action. Here it is, your blueprint. First, before you do anything, set one small, clear goal. That's your plan. Next, put your phone in another room. Get rid of distractions and lower that cognitive load. Then, start your session with a quick 5-minute quiz on what you studied last time. Boom, that's your spaced retrieval. After that, learn the new material in small bites and test yourself on it as you go. And at the very end, check if you met your goal and, this part is critical, pull out your calendar and schedule your next short review session right then and there. This little routine has every single principle we've talked about baked right in.
So at the end of the day, it all boils down to this one question. The goal was never to become some kind of robot who can study 24/7. The real goal is to become an efficient learner who gets better results in less time, so you have more time for the other things you actually enjoy. The choice is yours. Are you going to keep studying hard, or are you ready to start studying smart?